What's up, witches? Today we're going to be talking about your Book of Shadows or the Book of Shadows guide. I hope that you find this really helpful if you're starting out with the craft, and if you're currently working on your Book of Shadows, hopefully this can give you some good ideas or just how to organize your Book of Shadows a little bit better. A lot of witches consider their Book of Shadows or Book of Illuminations as a very important magical tool to the craft for many reasons. When you choose your Book of Shadows, I make sure that, it's a little bit bigger, there's a lot of room. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, but some witches choose, more aesthetically pleasing Book of Shadows like this. And it's just whatever is calling to you and whatever notebook you decide to put your Book of Shadows in. You can get your information and research done with your Book of Shadows by a mentor, different mediums like YouTube videos like this, books, but you have to remember always that every witch has their own way around the craft, so there is no wrong or right way to do it. So first and foremost, I want to tell you that if you're in a Facebook group or something like that, which is a great way to learn more about the craft, take what these people say as a grain of salt and definitely use your intuition and do what feels right for you. Never let another witch tell you that something is wrong or not to do something. Just listen to your spirit. I personally don't do hexes and curses. Some witches say that, it's okay to do that, and it's really up to you. So don't let anybody stop that learning process. When you're starting out with your research and your spirituality and creating your Book of Shadows, I would say number one, look into your ancestry and look into the type of magic that your ancestors did. In Europe, we have Celtic magic, we have voodoo and African-based magic, as well as Native American magic. The list goes on and on. So I think it's really important to, look into your ancestor work and do the research and start from there. Some really useful things that you can put in your Book of Shadows, it's all about testing and seeing what your gifts are. Every witch has different gifts. I'm more inclined to read palms and mix up potions. There's other astro witches that are more into astrology. I do some tarot, but we've got some tarot gurus. So this is basically you starting your research, feeling what you are drawn to, and this is just an easy way to get your information. Some basic things you can put in your Book of Shadows would be, the equinoxes, the solstices, the pagan and Wiccan holidays, what type of things you do to celebrate those holidays, and what time of year those occur. You can also look up the days of the week and write down the best days of the week for certain spells, so you can look back at that later. Something else that can be put in a Book of Shadows or Illuminations would be numerology, the meanings of certain angel numbers, so you can look them up quickly. If you're into astrology or just starting out, you could print out some papers of different meanings for every astro sign, and I think it's totally fine to, fold up different pieces of paper. They can be printed if you don't want to write it all down, and fold it up and put it inside of your Book of Shadows. You can also write down herb meanings, essential oil meanings, and what they can be used for, and put them down in the Book of Shadows. That's really important. Through your research, you can write down the different symbols and what those represent, so when you need it, you can look it up quickly. And if you find any spells that really resonate with you that you want to keep for later, that's also something that you can put down in your Book of Shadows. And also original spells, that's really important. Looking up different deities and what they represent and different types of deities used for certain types of spells is also something really important to put down in your Book of Shadows. Okay, let's talk about organization. I'm a Virgo sun, I'm a Virgo moon. This is my jam. This is what we do. I've been practicing for a little bit over a decade, so I've got a lot of little books of shadows, And I have recently combined them into one giant binder and organized all my stuff. I found this really helpful, so I'll tell you what I did, and hopefully this can give you some inspiration. So as I said before, I had a lot of different smaller Book of Shadows, that I've collected for the past 10 years. I decided to just put it in a big binder and separate it with different colored tabs. So the first red tab that I have, I've got the days of the week, the meanings, moon phases, things like that, tips for manifestation, just Witch 101 things that I can go back to. I have different salt types and what they are used for in the first tab. So the first tab is just basically basic information, different types of wands and what they can be used for and materials for wands. Just your very basic information in the red tab. In the middle, I have a page for different types of methods for things. I have a page called Getting Over a Broken Heart, which I did make into a YouTube video. It's under my self-help playlist. I also have an ancestor work page, also writing down different candle colors and what they're associated with is something great for somebody starting out, so you don't have to look it up all the time. In the back of my Book of Shadows, in the very last tab, I have all of my original spells, my bath mixtures, and the ingredients to that, and my recipes that I do keep secret because I sell my bath and my spell kits, so they stay consistent in here. So I just have all my original spells and rituals in the back of my Book of Shadows. I like to record past tarot readings and date them and look back for them as reference, because sometimes when we look back at our readings, some things come to light and it gives us a new perspective. So I do keep track of the tarot readings that I do on myself, and I think that that's a really good idea. So I will eventually make this Book of Shadows into a grimoire. A grimoire is different from a Book of Shadows or Illuminations. Books of Shadows can be more personal. Some use it as a diary or record past readings. A grimoire is, more of original spells, moon phases, just things like that, a little bit less personal and meant to be passed down within your family. So I would like to create a grimoire to pass down to maybe my future kids or my nieces or somebody like that. I have everything that I need to be put in this grimoire out of this Book of Shadows, like my original recipes. I'm going to get a really nice big leather bound book. I'm going to make sure that there's enough room so it can be added to in the future. And it's going to look a lot neater than this. So that is my plan. Alright guys, that about sums up our time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for letting me into your home. And if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe to this video so you can see more videos like this, and if you like the way that I do things around the craft. Love and light.